YouTube, what's going on? Calsoscoped back with another video. And if you guys didn't know by the title, today we're going to be learning player treatment, how to get the right player treatment. And I know you guys all want that signature player treatment, so let's get right into the video. But first, make sure you pay the fee of 1 like and be sure to consider subscribing if the video helps out. So let's dive right into it.
You are now tuned into calsoscoped.
Alright, so the first thing that you're going to need to do is obviously we got to get a player mask. So if you didn't have your mask, just mask out your player. And in the info box that you're seeing in the top right, the eye in the corner or whatever it is in the top right, that is where you can check to see how I get my mask done. It's an older video but still very helpful, so that's the first thing you need to do. Now, secondly, let's just look at what we have here. So I have a mask of Trae Young. He's in a black jersey and he has white shoes too. But I like the white shoes because they have a little bit of color in them, so we'll keep those tones. But the first thing I like to do when I'm doing player treatment is I like to desaturate. If it's a black or white jersey, I like to desaturate it because black is a combination of all colors combined into one. So you're gonna get different tones. Like if I were to color pick this, then I have probably somewhere around red. That's like an orange. If I go somewhere else, there's going to be some reds in here. It's more towards orange, but I like to desaturate my blacks or white tones. So I'm going to add a hue and saturation layer right here in the semicircle. Add that hue and saturation layer and create a clipping mask. So hold down Alt, or you can right click and create the clipping mask, or you can hold Alt and then do it this way. Either way works. Then just bring your saturation all the way down. And what we're going to do is invert the mask, so press Ctrl I. And now bring back your white brush, because white reveals black hides. Remember that, white reveals black hides. And now I'm going to brush on with my white brush everywhere that is on the black jersey. And even on the white parts I can do it too, but not over the NBA logo. If you want to get precise and get like right in here, that's really good too. So let's just do that quickly and then get to the next step. Alright, now once you're done with that, we see that we have before, this is after, before, after, right? Boom. Big difference, just noticeable from your eye. Now what you can actually do from this is, you can add a layer underneath. I'm going to go to selective color, so go to your semicircle, selective color. Then I'm going to go to blacks, alright? Go to blacks, and on your black, the preset is default, so just color black. Now you can actually bring this slider down a little bit, and adjust the jersey to your liking there. That's pretty clever, huh? You can adjust the jersey to your liking. How dark do you want it to be at first? Probably you want to have a lot of detail, so not too dark, but just make it a nice dark tone. And that just brings you some contrast from the skin to the jersey. Alright, so now once we do that, we're going to condense our mask. So when you're on your Trae Young mask right here, just hold down Shift, go to the top. The hue and saturation layer is on the top this time. Hold down Shift, click, and then we're going to press Ctrl G. And I'm going to name this group. Okay, name your groups. Name it Trae Young before CR, which is camera raw. All right, make a duplicate of this, and I'm going to name this one Trae Young CR. And what I'm going to do is condense this layer, this group. So I'm going to right click and create a smart object. Now the great thing about smart objects is if you were to double click on this thumbnail where the smart object logo is, you could go back in and this would be your group, which is pretty cool. So it's always good to save those type of things. And this is the CR group and this is the before. So I already have the group anyway though. But I just like making backups. I like making backups as I go. All right, so let's now bring this into camera. So let's go to filter, camera raw filter. All right, and in camera raw filter, I'm just going to go off the dome and make a nice little skin that I think looks cool. But you can use presets and things like this. Whatever I make in here, I will share with you guys as a preset. So I'm just gonna go in and try to just enhance your shadows and highlights. That's really what camera raw is for. Enhance your shadows and highlights and your contrast. So that's what camera raw is for. I'm gonna go in and make a camera raw that I think looks super cool, and then I'll show you guys what values I have. Okay, I think this looks pretty cool. Another thing that you want to think about in camera raw is you don't really want to change the color or temperature. anything like that. Like, that's not the type of things we're going for when we're in camera. We're just changing the overall structure of our subject or image. So what I have for contrast is plus 19, highlights 38. You guys see all the numbers here, and I'm gonna actually save this camera raw and I'll share it with you guys, so do not worry. So let's go ahead and save this right now. I'm gonna go into, where did I put this thing is the question. Yes, all right. I'm gonna go into my edit separate projects and save this camera raw for you guys. And now if we take the time to look at before and after, look at that, already looking sick, guys. And we haven't even done some things that I really like to do. Now, the next thing that we're gonna have to do here is condense it again. So right click, convert to smart object. We're just gonna condense it one more time. And let's see. I like to use Topaz Labs. If you don't have Topaz Labs, you would already have a dope skin right here, okay? So if you don't have Topaz Labs, don't like complain or be like, oh my god, how? I'm gonna link the Topaz Lab video in the description as well, so you guys can get that. But on Topaz Labs, if you do have it, which I suggest that you definitely try and get it, I like to use dynamic pop, all right? And maybe dynamic pop too in this case. I like to use dynamic pop and then lower the transparency. Just think it looks super cool. Maybe heighten the contrast a little bit. But something of this sort will look definitely pretty sick. And if we go back, and we're getting that look already that I want to go for. Now you see from the Topaz Labs that my blacks kind of got a little bit brighter again. And I don't really want that to happen. So now all I gotta do is add another selected color on black and drop it back down like that. And then I'll just take out a little bit from his hair. So I'm gonna add a layer mask on my selected color, drop my flow down on my brush and make it black to remove. And I'm removing some. You could even go in the jersey and remove some, bring back some highlights off it. Then one more thing I'm noticing is just the little things, like there's a little bit of saturation that I missed here. So let's just get that off as well. Just gonna use a brush on a layer mask, painting white. That's gonna bring out my hue and saturation. There's gonna be little things as you go. And you see there's a lot of artifacts, but you could use like noise reduction or something like this. But it's really up to you, and you just have to see as you go. So now I have everything looking pretty cool. I'm going to condense this down one more time into smart object, but this time I'm going to duplicate it, and we're going to go into Topaz Denoise this time to try and get rid of some of that noise in the jersey. And you can't use Denoise like OD, but you can use it a little bit and it won't look too bad. So we're going to invert this mask now. Invert it, Control I. There you have the layer mask, so press Control I, invert it, and I'm gonna paint white on some of these parts that have a lot of noise, right? So you see a lot of parts on the jersey have noise, a lot of noise. So we're gonna clean some of those up with denoiser. Definitely don't really want to have denoise on the face like too much, because then it kind of just looks like weird. Like it looks like a little bit plasticky, pasty. Alright, so this is a cool skin. Now to take this one step farther, I'm going to show you guys a little trick that you can use. Not even a trick, just something really dope that you can use. Okay, so we're going to do it like this. So we're on our Trae Young mask. So this is Trae Young mask, right? This is our Trae Young mask. And what we're going to do here is we're going to go to select, and we're going to go to color range. Alright, go to color range, and we're going to pick highlights first. Now, you see in color range, it's just showing you your highlights. So from this side, this is blown out highlights, and then this is getting a little bit towards, you know, more civilized highlights, or more condensed, whatever you want to call it. So you're gonna have to pick a range, and then the fuzziness is how much grunge. The more towards the left, there's more grunge, but this way it's like smoother. So pick a nice range, and you want it to be kind of smooth. It's not like a grunge skin I'm going for, so I'm not trying to do that. And then you're just gonna press OK after you get your highlights like that. Then we're gonna add either levels or brightness and contrast. So you could try levels. I would say brightness and contrast, but let's just try out levels first and see how it looks, just because I want to try it out. And it looks decent. Doesn't look too bad, but I'm gonna add brightness and contrast instead and see how that looks. So I'm just gonna duplicate this mask. All you have to do is hold down Alt and drag it into the different mask. That's how you duplicate a mask. And here we go with brightness and contrast. Looks pretty good. You just gotta play around with this as well. Nothing is like set in stone, like this is how you are gonna do it every single time. No, you gotta play around, and it's a lot of experimentation when you're doing skin treatment, player treatment, things like that. So that looks pretty cool. Another thing you can do with your mask too is feather it out, so it's not as harsh. You can just use this feather tool right here on the layer mask, the property. You can just bring the feather out, right? So that will work very well. And then also you can just, even if you have this mask right here, you can still do your own little highlights and take away some highlights if you want and don't like them. So just work on that for a minute and give it some time to develop while you're doing it, and then I'll be back. So I kind of changed this to luminosity, and I think luminosity looks pretty cool. It's a very subtle thing because I think there's a lot of highlights. The shadows is what's going to really make this have difference, I think. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go to select and color range. This time we're going to choose shadows, okay guys? So choose your shadows and choose your range. It's going to be nice and just really look clean for you and your project. So I'm bringing up the fuzziness. Everything white is what's selected here. If you were to invert it, it would be everything black is what's selected. But yeah, we're doing everything white, just for my sake, partly. And then we're gonna press OK. Now we're gonna add brightness and contrast again. And this time, yes, see, it's a lot darker. A lot darker this time. And it looks a little weird. So let's see, I'm going to have to make some adjustments here, aren't I? So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to first put the feather up. So put the feather up a good amount. There we go. Now it's starting to look a little bit better. And we're gonna bring our brightness down still and play around with our contrast. And now we're getting somewhere. So don't be afraid to make adjustments because you're gonna have to during this. And now I'm gonna go on my layer mask and do the same thing. Where I want the highlights to still be, I'm gonna keep those, and I'm going to just play and on my layer mask and uncover some things that I want to uncover and keep things in shade that I want to keep in shade. All right, and another pro tip guys, is when you're doing your brightness and contrast, maybe put it on luminosity. I think luminosity works better than normal. Look at normal, and then we look at luminosity, because luminosity is only going to affect the value, not the like tones. So think about that. Think about putting on luminosity. All right, and now another thing, yes, I know there's a lot of things you can do, right? But another thing you could try out now is, let's go grayscale real quick. So if we go grayscale, why is that like brown, reddish? Yeah, if we go grayscale real quick, now we can see where our highlights are and our shadows are. So what is this gonna serve a purpose for? Well, this is gonna serve a purpose for making contrast even farther. So if we were to use this brightness and contrast and then use this gradient map and then look at where our shadows are and lights are, we can really get into this even more. So we could add adjustments such as levels. So I'm going to add levels, and then I'm going to bring the tones down. I'm going to set this to luminosity actually, so it doesn't affect any color. We can bring the tones down just like this, dragging this slider. Levels brings out shadows or brings out highlight. That's what it does. That's what its purpose is. So that's what we can do. Bring this down, And now we can use the slider. Alright, so look. Now we have our levels down. We're going to invert this mask. Control I. And we're going to use a white brush. A soft white brush. And we're going to brush on shadows where you see it. Okay? And this is not something you're just going to be like everywhere. Just take your time with it. And it's going to come out very nice if you take your time with it. Just enhance some of your shadows. And you have a layer mask, so you can always go back. So it's not a bad idea to just plot out some shadows here. And then feather it as you see fit. So I might, yeah, like what I'm doing right now is I'm just plotting out where my shadows are on my player. So think about that while you're doing this. Just plot out some shadows everywhere, really, if you want. Even on the basketball, if you really want. Plot out where the shadows are and enhance those shadows, and then you can go back and do this for your highlights as well. And always you can check back and see from your gradient map what's going on. And I'm gonna lighten some parts. This kind of brings into form a little bit, like where you know some parts of the body will be darker. Why I always will suggest just looking at lighting from animations, movies, paintings, things of that nature. All will help. And what I'm doing, see, taking my time. I'm in no rush to just throw some random highlights on and then call it a day. No, we're not doing that. Alright, guys. Alright, that's cool. So now I'm going to just do the opposite. So I'm going to add levels once again. And I'm going to go back to grayscale. This time, let's make it the highlights brighter. So there we go. Invert the mask. And we're going to do the same process. Alright, there we go. And when you're done with this as well, now I'm just going to show you guys some little sliders you might want to add to enhance this. We could use things such as black and white on luminosity. So go luminosity. It's going to give us a little bit even more contrast. Black and white on luminosity. Oh my goodness. See that, guys? Wow. Hello. Very cool. Take some out from the mid. Like here. And off the yellow. Just like that. And then take some from the red. Super dope, guys. Super dope. And this can be done by anybody, man. It's not rocket science. It's not something you're not gonna be able to do. You just gotta take the time to do it, man. And just practice a little bit, learn a little bit about lighting, and in no time you'll be able to make the skins that you see every day that you really like. So it's not anything too crazy or out of the ordinary, but you see when I'm doing this, it's just I'm being really precise with everything, and I'm taking my time to make the right mask, the right shades, the right everything, man. Just everything will come together if you just take the time to do it. Some other things you might want to add, like I add selected color there. You could maybe add posterize. I don't know if you want to add this. It's up to you. You could add posterize. I mean, sometimes it does too much. I'm not gonna lie. So it's up to you. You could add that on luminosity as well. I don't know. It's up to you guys. But yeah, luminosity, posterize, maybe. Trying to think of other ones. You could add curves and then play around a little bit more on your curves adjustments. That could be kind of cool. And then overall, you want to just add saturation probably on the top and choose if you want it to be super saturated or not. But yeah, that is really how you're going to get it done. Even you could change like some reds or something, change colors from here if you want it to be more towards a pink or something. I don't know. You could get crazy with it after this, and then the next step obviously would be to do a jersey with this or something. See, I think posterized gotta go. Posterized has to go, y'all. Right. You could also add a solid color over the top. Put it on like soft light. Invert the mask. And then like just, you know, make a light source maybe. Not a light source per se, but make somewhere where a light's hitting. But yeah, that's literally how you're seeing these Instagram edits and stuff like that. That's how they're doing it pretty much. You guys know me. I do not hide information, and if you guys want to know something, you guys are gonna get the truth from me, man. So that is all you need to know how to do this. And now if you look at this, it's looking pretty crazy. Definitely would be able to go in and do something crazy with this, like a graphic or something. I might have to clean up my mask a little bit around the edges. When you're doing masks, definitely make sure your mask is clean, man. But I'm gonna have to do that. So the thumbnail you're gonna see, it's gonna be super clean with this. But I appreciate you guys all coming out to the I almost said live stream. Thank you guys for watching the video. I hope this helped. I hope you really follow these steps and really learn lighting and shadows, and this is really what's going to take you to the next level when you want to do your poster designs, or that lighting that you see on Instagram a lot with player retouches and all of those types of things. So make sure you guys share this with a friend. Definitely share it with a friend. Don't let them out on any of these secrets, you know. Don't let them out on any of these, and drop a like, and make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you are new. So with that being said, stay scoped. I'm out. Peace.